Hello and welcome back to another episode of Girls Do Sport, the bite-sized guide to women's sport here in Scotland. In each programme we have focused on several different sports and have showcased what the sport is about, its key people and what the future holds for the sport in Scotland. Today it's all about roller derby. We will be hearing from two people within the world of roller derby who have made the effort to come down to Ayr this afternoon. They will explain us a little bit more about the sports that most of us have never heard of. Skaters Fury and Brawl will be with us shortly. And you can get involved in the conversation using the hashtag GirlsDoSport. Roller derby is definitely the most alternative sport that we've had here in Girls Do Sport. The first mention of roller derby dates from the late 19th century, yet modern-day roller derby started around 20 years ago in the US, and it's definitely catching on as 38 nations will be participating in the World Cup in Manchester in February next year. Another interesting detail setting roller derby apart from other sports is how prevalent women are. Sports in general, particularly at the top level, is still a field dominated by men, which was illustrated by the fact that only one female athlete appeared on the list of the world's 100 best paid sports people. An overwhelming majority of roller derby players are female, lending it a unique position. Some of the ladies even represent their country at international level. Our reporters, Susanna Martinkova and Jan Spans, went along to the training session at Glasgow Caledonian University on Sunday to find out firsthand what roller derby is all about and what it makes it such an interesting sport to do and watch.
What's the most exciting part of the sport for you?
The thrill. It's just like such an adrenaline, female-powered sport. So you're like, it doesn't matter like where you're from, what country you're from, or what team you play for. Like you cheer on everybody. It's like all for one, which is a really good thing.
So what's the best thing about being part of the club?
It's just good to be part of it in a social aspect as well. Like one of the reasons I started playing was to meet new people. Like it's another interest outside of work or outside of anything. It keeps you healthy as well. Like I seriously, like my legs are like now, and it's great. I'm like, oh yeah, Beyonce. Like ain't got nothing on me.
I was lucky enough to play for Ireland in the last World Cup, and that was in Dallas in Texas. So that's somewhere that I probably would never have gone to otherwise, and that was a pretty cool experience.
I think the perfect thing about roller derby is it allows you to be really body positive, and no matter what your body shape is, it teaches you how to use your body instead of where a lot of, especially a lot of female things are very. What's wrong with your body? You see all these magazines, what's wrong? Yeah. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? Where roller derby is like, right, this is you. How can we use you to win games? And I think that's really, really awesome.
How long have you been involved in roller derby for?
I think it's 9.5 years, nearly. About 9.5 years.
That's a long time.
It's quite a long time, yeah.
How did you get into roller derby?
I've been involved in kind of in the periphery, I suppose, of different action sports for a couple of decades now, I suppose. I used to skateboard, and then my boyfriend runs a BMX magazine, so we were at a BMX event at Livingston Skate Park, and there was a girl there hanging out with one of our friends, and she kind of looked at me and she was like, "Do you play roller derby?" And I was like, "What's roller derby?" And so I looked it up, and I went that week, and they happened to have a pair of skates in my size, and I just fell in love. So that was it.
What made you get into roller derby in the first place?
I was always into, like, I used to watch Tank Girl and read those comics when I was a kid, and I always thought it was a really cool thing, but didn't realise that it was here. And then when I found out it was in Glasgow, I had to come to a game, and from the first time I saw it, I knew it was for me. I had to do it.
What would you say to girls that want to get involved in the sport?
Go for it. Like totally go for it. Like I was really worried about starting. I came by myself. Like none of my friends were that interested in it, so I just went to the intake day and was like, deep breath, just walk through the door. It's sort of like when you first start high school, like you get that kind of, oh God, but then like within minutes everybody's like your best friend, everybody's super supportive, like you suddenly just feel like you're part of this community, which is just fantastic.
Finally, what advice would you give a 12-year-old who's picking a sport? What advice what would you say to that person to make him or her choose roller derby?
Well, I think if you like the look of it, then it's an amazing sport to be a part of, because it's dynamic, it's strategic, it keeps you fit. If you're the kind of kid that's into something like roller derby, you probably think outside the box a little already. You're probably a little bit alternative, and you'll find a community of like-minded people.
Roller derby. For those who didn't know this sport before, roller derby is a contact sport played by two teams of 5 members roller skating in the same direction around the track. It is mostly played by women, where each player has his own position.
Well, skating positions, there's jammer, blocker and pivot, and then they also have, of course, bench, line-up. Official positions, there's lots. There's 7 skating officials. You have 2 inside pack refs who make sure that everyone's in the designated area, 2 jammer refs who keep track of the points, and 3 people on the outside looking for penalties. There's also usually about 11 non-skating officials outside, so it takes a lot of people to run a game.
There are 3 main positions in roller derby. Let's look closer to blockers.
My name is Lindsay Watson, and I am a blocker. I like to be a blocker, so I've kind of always been a blocker. I like the strategy, I like the thinking, and I like the fact that it's up to you whether somebody gets out and gets points. So you control the pace of the game just by shutting down a jammer and keeping it slow, or you can speed up the pack and you can make the game go fast. So blockers kind of hold the cards.
To become a roller derby player is much easier than you thought. Except of the decision to start and courage, you only need to provide yourself a basic equipment. The most important are definitely the roller derby skates. Then you need to provide yourself a good helmet and mouth guard, elbow pads, and the knee pads are also very important. We know what everything we need. Now it's time to look at rows. So, how it is in roller derby?
British Bulldog and rugby on skates without a ball. There's a person with a star on their hat, and it's their job to get through the opposing blockers, and then after they're through initially they get 1 point for every person they pass on the track, for a maximum of 5 points per pass. Halves with the 3 timeouts and official view, so a game to watch normally takes about an hour and a half.
These were the basic information about roller derby. But what about organization? Who is hiding behind this amazing sport?
The fact that when you come and join a club, you are part of a club. There's nobody who owns it. There's nobody in charge. Everybody is a volunteer within that club, and we all have our own roles and responsibilities on committees. And it is our responsibility to make sure that everything happens, the health and safety, the PR, the sponsorship, the merchandise, the web and design, the website's running and the shop's going and all the orders are fulfilled and things like that as well, and that the events that we put on run smoothly and etc. as well. So
that's everything about roller derby for today, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Let's go! Hey ho! Let's go! Hey ho! Let's go!
Now it's time to meet our visitors. First up, we're talking to Fury, the woman who welcomed us to the training and made sure everything runs safely and smoothly on Sunday, and Bro, another skater from Glasgow Roller Derby. So, guys, how did you get involved with roller derby?
For me, it was just a bit of a fluke, really. I came across the website for the local roller derby team where I used to live down in Kent at university. And I emailed them. I thought, that looks like a thing I could do. I emailed them and they said, oh, we're having an intake to the league next week. So it just seemed to be fate. And I was like, yeah, I'll go along. And I did. It was brilliant.
Nice. What about you?
For me, it was like, I had never heard about roller derby. And one of my friends back in Finland, they took me to see the Finnish championships because they had started derby like a couple of months before. And within 15 minutes, from the start of first game, I was like, I need to do this. But that was back in 2014-ish, so it took me 3 years to actually get on track. So when I knew I would move to Glasgow, I googled like, is there any leagues in here? Glasgow roller derby, gonna go there, and the rest is history.
Well, was it really hard to get into this sport? Like, have you ever felt like you're gonna quit?
I feel like when I first started learning, I did struggle a little bit. So it takes quite a long time to get the skills that you need to play the game. So you can't just, put on a pair of trainers and start playing. It doesn't really work like that. You have to learn a lot of skills first because quad skates are quite different than what most people will have done before. And I did struggle at the start. I think it took me a long time to physically get there. But I kind of enjoyed that challenge. So it didn't really make me feel like quitting, but there were times definitely where I was like, why am I not, getting there? But since I've been able to actually be on a team and play the game, never look back really. It's just amazing.
Have you?
I mean, I found it I'm one of those annoying people who just finds it really easy to learn new skills.
Yeah.
So I feel like I learned everything fairly quick, and just more I do, easier I learn, and it feels more comfortable every time I hop on track. And it's just I never felt like quitting. I just want to be on track more.
That's good. That's what you want in a sport.
Yeah, very much.
What would you say is the main benefit of the sport?
Just getting to do something different from your everyday life. Because it's I've done a fair amount of sport in my life, but roller derby is something I've never done anything like this before. And it's something I can just forget about my life and just do something really physical and different. It demands different things from my brain. So it's really kind of liberating. Kinda, I would say that. It's at least how I feel it.
Yeah. Obviously it's got the same benefits as doing any sport. It's good for your health and that sort of thing. But I think you're right. It requires a very different state of mentality. You have to be really focused on what you're doing. So for me it is a really good stress relief, all of these kind of benefits that people get out of sport. It's better for that than other sports would be because it takes 100% of my attention. I have to give it everything, and that's really nice in a way. You're not doing anything else. You're there for the roller derby, which is
I would say.
That cool. Sounds really nice.
Yeah.
I really want to go roller derby now. Anyways, what is the hardest match you've played?
Team Scotland.
Really?
Yeah, we played against Team Scotland, the Scotland's national team, a couple of weeks ago. It was just a fun practice game. It wasn't blood in your mouth, kind of oh, we need to win this. It was it was really, really hard because all of them are amazing players.
Yeah.
But we did good.
I'd say that's one of the hardest matches I've probably played. I've been playing a bit longer in theory, so I'd probably say that is one of the hardest matches I've played. But it was really good to feel physically pushed and challenged. The other thing I'd say is I've played a couple of tournaments where you've played maybe 2 games or 3 games in a day, and that's been really physically demanding for me in the past to kind of keep that level of athleticism and focus for a whole day is a new and different challenge as well. So, yeah, it's tough.
So your position is blocker.
Mhm.
That sounds really aggressive. What is it about?
It's not. I tend to stray away from the word aggressive because people think aggressive. Oh, that means like punch in the face. Obviously, we're not like that. It's very physically demanding, so it is very physical. Basically, as a blocker, your job is to do offense and defense, so you're always constantly switching between the two, or as they say in Glasgow, offense, which I quite like. Your main job is to either help your jammer, so your point scorer, to score the points by impeding the other team, or you would be impeding the other team's jammer, so you're doing defense, preventing her from getting your point. As a blocker, I am a point. She sees me as a point. She wants to get past me. It's my job to stop that from happening. Or, as I say, it's my job to help
a jammer.
My jammer to get past. And you do that by, skating in front of or physically blocking the other team, which is why it's called being a blocker, obviously.
Makes more sense.
Nice.
Now.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy being a jammer?
I do. I have had I have tried blocking, and I enjoy it more the more I do, but jamming is still like very near and dear to my heart because I like the speed, because when you get through the pack, which is not always easy, sometimes it feels like you're running through an actual wall because they are so close to you and you're squished between people and it's like you can't get through. But when you get through, it's like, yeah, 6 seconds of peace, and then you hit the wall again and try to like duke and just like get through.
That's like so much fun.
It is actually.
Yeah, honestly.
It is a lot of fun.
Okay, one last question.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about the position of women in sports? Tough one.
In general?
Yeah, in Scottish sport. In Scotland, generally. I know you're from Finland,
Yeah.
but you know how you feel.
You're sporting in Scotland.
I mean, like, I'm sporting in Scotland.
That's a really tough question. I mean, I think it's something that everyone should do. All people, all of the humans should be doing sport, should be doing physical activities, because it really gives you something that I think you can't get in any other way.
Yeah.
Like I feel like being a physically active person and being part of a team, even solo sports, you're always sort of training yourself. You're working against your time, or you're trying to improve your form, or whatever you're doing, pushes people to develop, and I think that has an impact across your life, not just on your sport, obviously. And I think for everyone that's really important, but specifically, obviously, we're looking at championing women's sport, which is needs to be done. People should be encouraged to do it, especially people who maybe have felt like they're not able to, or they're not wanted, or for whatever reason they haven't tried it. You should. Everyone should.
Yeah, that's the same, because sometimes, especially sports journalism or just televised sport, it's always focused on men's sport, and that being called football, and then there's women's football, but it's the same game. It's not different in any way, and it's it should be, women shouldn't be scared to get the exposure and just be recognised as athletes, no matter what the sport is, or if it's just going for a run, because all of it is important, and you should do it. Just take your space. You deserve your space in sports and in life.
It's now time for some questions from our guest, from our studio audience. Our first question is from Lewis.
What is your ultimate goal with roller derby? Where would you like to end up with it?
That is a really, really tricky question, to be honest, because I feel like every single player has their own goals for it.
Each player has their own goals personally, and each team maybe has their own goals, and then everybody's got their own idea of where they want to take it as a sport. The whole sport is grassroots, and it's owned by the skaters.
I think there is a saying going around, it's made by skaters for the skaters,
which
it's-
means
yeah.
we can take it wherever we want to, which is really amazing.
It is.
Personally, my goal is just to keep playing forever. Like, I don't want to stop, and I'm quite happy to just keep doing that and pushing myself to whatever level I can.
And I feel the same. Because like I'm fairly fresh in the game, so I just want to learn everything and get better and get to play more games and just see where the sport will go and see more people to join, because it's a really, really cool game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Liz. Next one is from Craig.
Being not familiar with the idea of roller derby, how would you get involved with it exactly?
So if you want to get involved with a roller derby team, the internet is your best resource. Obviously, you can find your local league. Here in Glasgow, you can find Glasgow Roller Derby on our social media, and we have an email address which you'll be able to find on our website that you can email to join the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just skaters that we're looking for as well.
Because it's basically playing the game is only half of the roller derby, because a game can't go on without our lovely non-skating officials and referees who just like they tell us when we do the bad things, and they keep the scores, and they are just all around amazing people who keep the games going, and they are a crucial part of the sport. So if you don't want to skate, you can just join as a NSO or go through a like basic skills program to learn how to skate and then be a referee. And those are both really cool things. And all of these, like all of the info will be on the team's website, how to join and how to get involved.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you to our student audience for taking part today. And remember, if you want to get involved in the conversation, use the hashtag #GirlsDoSports. It's now time for a bit of fun. And over the 9 episodes, we're going to see who can fit in the most words about their sport in just 15 seconds. Brawl is going to have a shot today. So, Brawl, if you can just look down straight to that camera and say anything that comes to mind about the sport as quickly as possible, describing roller derby.
Are you going to tell me where to start?
I will.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, so the absolute best thing about roller derby and why you should play it is that it is an independently owned and run sport. The skaters have complete autonomy over why we play and how our game is. It's real, it's strong, it's athletic, it's tactical, it's fast-paced. It's not like anything else.
Great effort, Brawl. We'll add that to the score of our leaderboard. And you can see all of the other scores from each episode on our Facebook page, Scottish Women in Sport. You have got 12 words in the 15 seconds. You know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But it was great. We'll add your score to our leaderboard. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Girls Do Sport. Today's episode was brought to you by Scottish Women in Sport and the sports journalist from the University of the West of Scotland and Studio Lab. We'd also like to thank our brilliant partners, Brand Oath, for making everything look fabulous and sport on spec. Keep the conversation going with the hashtag #GirlsDoSports. But for now, thanks for watching.
Sport is defined differently by each and every one of us. For many, as long as you don't play in a team or don't do it in a competition, then you're not actually doing a sport. However, people forget that you can define sport however you want. The best example is running. To be honest, most of us do it every day. When we're late for work or uni, we just run. Or when the bus is too early, yes, you guessed, we just run. You don't need to spend too much money on it as well. To be honest, all you need is some sporty clothes and shoes, which mostly you can find in your wardrobe. And what is the most fun is that you can run anywhere, in a town, a park, or even at a gym. You can run alone or together with your friends. Or even, you know what, make a fun day with your dog if you really want it. If you're more adventurous, why not try a marathon? You can challenge yourself, run with other people, have fun, meet new friends, and even do something good. Ever thought of helping other people just by using your legs? With marathons, you can do that. You can choose any charity you want. And just by running, you can just help anyone. And if you need, marathon spectators will give you any energy that you need to cross that finish line. So if you've never done running, why not give it a go? And maybe one day you will cross a magical number of 26 miles.
I'm crying, so I could barely finish because I couldn't breathe. Just a lot. It's emotional. It's been a long time training for something and showing up and doing it every day, and finally you do it. It feels pretty good.